Middlekauff! Hey!
Hello. Hello, YouTube.
Hello, friends.
Hello, John. Hello, friends. Oh, yeah, National Championship game is tonight. We are live on YouTube. It's a YouTube only. This is not a podcast. Hit that like button. Bam, 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 bam. Subscribe. We are, if you're watching this live, we are we're like 3 hours away from the National Championship game. Kansas, North Carolina.
I love some people on the East Coast are complaining like this is when you guys always get these games. Like this is you guys are used to this. You don't complain. You wear it. We complain.
Yeah, the reason the games are at 9:20 is because they know you guys will watch. If they put it at 9:20 out here on the West Coast, we'll go to bed. Like, yeah. So it's like one of those. Like they always say, like if at work you do things for free that are out of your job description, why would they ever give you a raise if they know you'll do it for free, right? Like you're not getting the promotion if you're already doing extra work for free. So yes, East Coast bias exists because East Coast fans are so hardcore, and because they're so hardcore. They know they can feed you shit and call it steak, and you'll take it at 9:20 p.m.
I know. I can't even imagine when we had to do radio. Had to do is a good way to say it now, but at the time it felt like we were doing it, Yeah. And it felt like you had to watch every goddamn baseball game. And I mean, I haven't. You couldn't. I don't know what you'd have to pay me to like knowing every night. Like I feel like I got to stay up. I can't even. I don't know what the number is, but it would be very, very high.
All right, coming up next, John breaks down that eighth inning pinch hit appearance. Should they have gone lefty-righty there? Double switch was an option.
This got tweeted into my timeline before we hopped on. This, obviously there are, several amateurs. Remember Victor Hovland was the low amateur. I think there's like 5 or 6 in the Masters. I think if you are like the low guy on the somehow a guy from like South America, they have a Southern America amateur. He has like some sort of path into this. So they always have like a guy from the South American tour, a future like Sergio or whatever, John Rahm maybe. And this guy told the Augusta National Review, it's like a newspaper, that his name is Jarvis. He's from, I don't know where, he's Chile or something. He's like, I saw a Tiger, this was yesterday, hop out in front of me. There's no better no or better rejection than I've ever gotten than from Tiger Woods, right? So I thought I'd give it a shot, said Jarvis, who won the Latin American Amateur in January to qualify for the Masters. I ran up to him through the woods and asked, Mr. Woods, are you playing by yourself? Can we join? He's like, I'm just going to play by myself today. But it was pretty cool to see him kind of play in front of me. And the round, we just got to talk to him and his caddy for 10 minutes after. So it was an incredible rejection.
You gotta shoot your shot.
Sometimes you get rejected on practice rounds, but you never get sometimes you gotta ask. At least you never know.
Tiger wasn't gonna invite him, right? It's like Tiger was gonna be like, hey Jarvis, why don't you play with me today? I'm only the biggest story in sports in 2022 so far.
Did you see the visual of him teeing off today with Freddie Couples and Justin Thomas? I mean, it was 80 deep.
So does his swing look a little different to you?
He's toned it down a lot.
I'm no golf swing aficionado like you, but it does look to me like there's just a little more torque on his in his front, which would make sense, right? Because it's his right leg is his recovered. He's not his right leg.
Saying like he's taking pressure off the bad leg.
Yeah, it looks to me kind of like Frank Thomas's baseball swing. Frank was a lot of front leg with Charlie Lau, I think was the swing legend who started that, where you kind of transition weight onto your front leg and you pick up your back leg.
I do think when he made his comeback a couple years ago, he had just toned everything a lot down because of his back.
Because of his back, yeah.
I actually think that when you, like if me or you just destroyed our ankle, like if he was, let's say, Tom Brady, I think his career would have ended, right, if he played a normal sport. But I think that they can put rods and shit in there that it just, you just shatter bones. They can rebuild the bones, right? It's when they destroy ligaments and stuff that you're never the same. But if I took a hammer and broke every one of your bones in your foot, but your ligaments were fine, I think I can rebuild that pretty easily, like with metal rods and stuff. So if you just can still have the same pressure. I wonder if it was on the front leg, could he have the same torque or whatever? But like if he was a 32-year-old, let's say he was, Saquon's a bad example because he's not that great anymore, but like whoever, just a running back, in his mid-20s that has the same accident, is that guy ever playing in the NFL again? Probably not, right?
Yeah, I mean, muscle loss would be the other question I'd have, right? Like if we're judging off, remember Alex Smith's leg, different injury, but
he came back.
Came back, yeah.
But when he did, people were like, is the football team trying to kill him? Remember? I remember watching when they put him in. I forget who the starting quarterback was, but he got injured. It was like it was a random guy, and then they put in Alex.
It wasn't Heineke?
No, I feel like it was before Heineke. I feel it might have been an Allen. And they were playing the Rams, and they put him in the second half. And I remember Aaron Donald jumped on his back, and I held my breath thinking, like, is he going to get up? This is not fair to the human being, Alex.
Let's see. That team had Kyle Allen. Logan Thomas started 15 games, but not a quarterback. Dwayne Haskins started 6 games that year, and Kyle Allen started 4, and then Alex started 6 games. I mean, Alex Smith went 5-1 as the Washington football team quarterback after that. Now, good team. He threw 6 touchdowns, 8 picks, but still, he went 5-1. I mean, he was 67% completion percentage.
More impressive comeback. Alex Smith playing a football game, what he went through. Tiger Woods. Was it you told me that you had a source, or was it someone else that was one of the first responders and said there was bones everywhere?
I told you that. Yeah, I told you that. I don't remember.
You knew a guy that knew a guy on like a ambulance.
Knew a friend.
It was obvious. I mean, it was not. I mean, amputation, like with Alex, was on the table early for Tiger.
I got to go Alex, only because I know what happened. Like, I know how fucking insane it was for Alex.
I know, we've seen
now,
the
it
leg.
seems like it was pretty insane for Tiger, too, right?
Both insane. Feels like it was clearly easier to reconstruct Tiger than Alex, right?
Alex suffered an injury playing the sport. He came back. Like, take nothing away from Tiger. There was a mental element to overcoming, being able to step back on a football field for Alex, too, right? Like, the injury happened on a football field. Now, the injury itself is not what almost cost him his leg. The infection is, but the injury was pretty gruesome even before the infection. That's the other part.
Very true. Very true.
It's a good
career ender.
Good hypothetical. We should save that hypothetical for Papa. I really feel like our 2 hypotheticals for Greg Papa were pretty. I had somebody DM me like those are pretty good. I feel like Kinlaw Wiseman was just. That was a miserable hypothetical. Under 1,000 fans. He said he thought it might be possible for a game.
Well, so, it's.
I thought they were good hypotheticals.
I don't view mine. Yours is on the table. If you told me that Wiseman and Kinlaw combined never play another, like it's all on the table for both guys, and you can already feel both like the PR campaigns, like Kinlaw out working out. Kyle looks every day out his window and sees Kinlaw doing bear crawls, and it's like this offseason. Wiseman can't wait to play for the Vegas Summer League team. And then the Vegas Summer League starts like, Wiseman still isn't quite ready, but he's going to support the team on the sideline. You know, I can see both going, right? Like OTAs. Well, it's like you guys, Kyle, you've been saying you've been working out. Well, we're just going to slow play it. He's not going to participate yet. And then all of a sudden we get to training camp with both, and then both still on the sideline. That's a lot. Guy, there is no doubt in my mind. This place has been empty for a decade, and they have had 3 iterations of sweet teams for the A's, like legit teams. This team, you can't name a fucking player besides Stephen Vogt, and you'd say the manager is probably one of the more famous players on the actual team, and he's the manager. They are going to have, I feel confident, it all comes down, you think they're going to announce the actual number. Papa, I think some of the old school people think that they'll be uncomfortable with. I lean with you. I think they're going to want to be embarrassed. I think there's a couple 500 nights if they truly announce 500 people. Because it's like, well, it's going to be so cheap. It's been cheap. You can get in for $1 and sit wherever you want.
It's more expensive now.
The money. Oh, it is?
They raised prices, yeah. I don't know to what, but
do you think it's out of the realm possibility that one night this year, like Buster Only retweets, there are 476 people at the Oakland Coliseum against the Baltimore Orioles?
I mean, 476 is so low.
The place sucks. The teams.
No, I get it. I understand. I get it. It'll be cold. They'll be playing the Mariners.
Yeah, Wednesday night. In a random early June.
Yeah, they'll be on pace for 112 losses It'll be something like that.
That's the only my only pushback of my own hypothetical is they always are better than you think.
I mean, usually, yeah.
This one would be pretty difficult.
This is they're going above and beyond. If if they have a game where there's like a Buster only tweet that's like there's 370 people at this game, should we immediately live stream the game and see if we can top the number of people at the A's game on the stream?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Read this one for me. I was a little confused by this.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Been a fan for years on radio, and I thought John just loved calling you Guy. Also, if you could be a pro in a sport, what sport and position would you choose? Oh, I understand. So he's saying, thank you for the donation.
Thanks for the donation.
For the payment. The payment. The subscription. No,
do you ever,
because
when
my
you're
name
checking
is Guy,
out, not to get off topic, but when you're checking out at like Safeway or one of those areas, like, would you like to donate and be like, we donate to No Get Hungry, okay, guys? I'm not cheap. I'm not anti whatever your cause is.
Yeah.
10 G's ham last year. 10 G's, everybody. Just want to make that known. Can you put up a sign like donated 5 G's a piece last year?
Should I just wear hoodies that say already donated?
Yeah.
So the question was, what was the question? If you could be a pro in a sport, what sport and position would you choose? That's easy for me.
What's that?
I think the correct answer to this question, although, I shouldn't say correct answer. This is actually not easy, but my gut is always be like the star point guard on an NBA team. Because it's not 162 games, but it's also not as physically demanding as football. Careers are longer. I think just like when you watch the Lakers show, I think a basketball player has the best potential to just be like a lifestyle, just like a star. Not that, I mean, football quarterbacks are huge stars, but I feel like basketball players get to really enjoy the showmanship of their stardom the most. It'd be like saying, would you rather be Steph or Tom Brady? I mean, take Brady, whatever. But I think basketball would be, people say if you want to own a team, like you can have the gym. That's where I think basketball's got a good thing going. But you could convince me. I love, originally baseball.
Do you go to our homepage on the YouTube a lot? Like the homepage just that has all the like queries of the other things up there. They're like random videos.
You mean
I think I'm clicking on.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, I click on a lot of Dan Patrick interview videos because it's usually up on the homepage. I clicked on one the other day. He interviewed Randy Johnson, and part of it was like next year the Super Bowl is in Scottsdale, and Barkley said that he could broadcast next year from the Super Bowl at Barkley's house, but he had like some requirements, and Dan's like, I'm pulling out, and then he goes to Randy Johnson, and he goes like, Randy basically just dives into, they're talking about Randy's career, but then they get into that, and Randy's like, I won the World Series MVP in the Valley of the Sun. My house is bigger than Charles. And the point was, then I went down this rabbit hole of just watching Randy Johnson highlights. Now, granted, when he hit the scene in the early 90s, baseball basically felt like the SEC championship game. Like they played in games in the Superdome that was like, baseball was cooler then. I mean, Edgar Martinez double that Griffey scores from first. If you just go, I recommend it to anyone do this, just watch that play. And the aftermath of a couple minutes after, it feels like you're watching the fucking Super Bowl. Like it's like baseball doesn't feel like that now. Griffey scoring from first looks like Deion Sanders round in second. It's like, here comes the kid, and he's flying, But Randy had come out of the pen and struck out like 7 of 9 guys. It was badass. He's just fucking mowing down Leyritz, starts screaming at the ump, and Don Mattingly had no chance. I do think. Now, he was kind of an angry guy, and even he said, the interview's really good with Dan. I mean, all Dan's, like, cuts on YouTube, just whenever he interviews these former stars from, like, our youth. Because even Randy was like, actually, my favorite time playing baseball, he said, was his last year for the Giants. Because he's like, there wasn't that much pressure. Like, he didn't really do that well with the pressure, because he was kind of like an angry guy. But I go back to the Glavine, Smoltz, Maddox, and how they always talked about, like, they traveled their golf clubs. They pitched once a week. They dominated when they pitched. And the other days, you just see them in the dugout eating seeds. Now, you do, the knock is you have to be there every day. Like you do have to it's just every night you have to show up even when you're not playing. But you get paid
the worst places to hang out.
Yeah, you get paid $25 to $40 million. You got true pressure the one night a week when you pitch, and you say now more than ever you get bullpen help. So you're not even. Randy's going like CGs. I mean, you go 7. That's basically like the new 12. You know.
Do you? Think
I do think starting pitching at a high level would be pretty sweet in baseball on a good team.
Yeah, as long as like when I saw the story last week, Jake DeGrom injured, needs an MRI. I was like, of course he does. This happens every year with Jake DeGrom. So I would want to. You're right. I'd want to be an ace. If you just told me, if I'm pitching it's like Tommy John 2 out of 3 years. I would not be into that lifestyle. But if you told me like, yeah, you just Maddox, you just go and go and go and go, and your teams are good.
I would say though, just you guys just get hurt now. All these sports, right? I mean, DeChambeau's injured. Soccer players get hurt. Basketball guys are hurt. I mean, you get injured doing anything.
I know.
I got an MCL.
But to me, pitching is a pretty unique. Basketball guy with an injury. Pitchers, you get a Tommy John. It just feels like I don't see you for 3 years because you get another one.
Dan asked the big unit. He's like, "Do you think you could still, strike some people out?" And the big unit said, "Well, actually, the reason I quote unquote retired was I tore my labrum when I was 45 years old pitching for the Giants. And if I hadn't, I would have come back another year with them. Like it was like I'm telling you, he thought his favorite year. Think about his Hall of Fame career. He's one of the greatest individuals that you'd say in sport. Like his peak in any sport was as good for a period of time as we've ever seen. His favorite time was when he was 45, 46 years old. But he's like, I never got it, done. So I'm still got a torn labrum. I can't pitch. It would go.
He's a photographer now, isn't he? I saw Bill Spaceman Lee the other day, who's 75 years old, pitched in a Savannah Banana game, struck a guy out. The Savannah Bananas, that team that does all the weird stuff.
Are they like the Globetrotters of baseball?
Well, yeah, kind of. They're like independently, except like one game they had a rule: if a fan caught a foul ball, it wasn't out.
I kind of like that rule.
It's pretty good because the crowd goes crazy.
Do you think if baseball announced that,
Thanks, Jay.
people would freak out? Because I would be all for it. That would be sweet.
Hey, by the way, we got a DraftKings game going right now for the Masters. It's huge. 200 people is the number of spots we have. First place, $20 entry. First place gets $900.
You see your balance, guy? You got $530.
I got $500. I know. So it just went live today. Let me see so first place gets $900. Can you read that? Second place gets $720. Third place $540. Fourth place $360. Fifth place $270. And then 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th all get between 198 and 144. So
do you think if Tiger were to win this Masters, it'd be an even bigger story than 19?
Yeah. I do. I don't
Feels
like he's playing, right?
Yeah, he's playing.
Is he making the cut? I mean, that to me, I think if he makes the cut, it'd be a humongous story.
There's a lot of he looks
big
fantastic.
take by me.
Well, yeah, he's never missed the cut, but yeah, I mean, he hasn't fucking played a round of golf that's meant anything in a year and a half. So, the other thing people forget is right before he got in the car crash, it was right after Riviera a year ago. Do you remember he was on camera with Jim Nantz and he looked terrible? And because remember his back was all messed up and people were like, Tiger's in a weird place. And now it's like he's perfectly fine. I honestly, you see the vibe of just the pictures.
Yesterday.
He looks like he's in a great mental space.
I was thinking about this on Sunday. It's pretty bizarre that there are, I think, some significant questions about that car crash that just go unanswered.
Well, it's Tiger. They sweep a lot of things under the rug.
Like, what happened? Why didn't you hit the brakes? What was happening? What was going on? I think it's pretty weird.
Well, and everyone does.
Yeah, well, I know, but it's just everyone's just moving on. Like, oh, must just been an accident. Nothing, whatever. Just
people that live in the area say it's a sneaky turn that if you're not ready for it. Now he was going 80 and never touched the brake.
I know. area he knows supposedly, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a pretty good advertisement for Genesis cars. I actually don't think they look terrible.
No, I think are they Hyundais or are they not related to Hyundai? I can't.
I thought they were owned by Chrysler, but again, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, you tweeted today, what are the Saints doing? People might not know exactly, so here's what the Saints are doing. The Saints did a trade with the Eagles on April 4th. They're moving up for Trey Lance. The Saints traded number 18, a third rounder, a seventh rounder, a first rounder next year, and a second rounder in 2024 for number 16, number 19, and a sixth rounder this year.
When Schefter tweeted trade alert, I double taked. Like I was like, is this fake? And then I clicked on his account to make sure, even though it had the blue check mark. I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because I kept looking, like, trade alert, Eagles Saints. Like, what? Why would they be trading now? I'm still a little. I don't understand this at all, guy. Because you think, like, why would the Eagles do this? And then you realize, oh yeah, they also have pick 15. So they basically just traded 2 of their picks for pick 18, right? But they get a first round next year and a second round the following year. I mean,
and a third this year. And a third this year is not nothing.
It's not nothing at all. You just don't need 3 picks in the teens. Like, if I told you the Niners right now somehow had this situation and did this, wouldn't you just, I mean, this would be the easiest trade they'd ever make.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you had pick 4 and you included like one great pick. All the picks were in the same cluster. And clearly you're like, this draft's kind of hit or miss. What the fuck are the Saints doing? Makes no sense to me. I saw Joe Banner had a tweet that he thought it was the dumbest trade he's ever seen in the NFL.
Interesting.
Because the value doesn't make any sense. To give up a first round pick to essentially just acquire 2 picks that are in the same value as your own pick. It'd be one thing if one of the picks was like 6, right? If you were getting 6 and 19.
Right.
Like, to me, the value is like...
Well, think about what the Niners did last year to go get Trey Lance. They had to give 2 1s and swap their 1. So, like, the Saints can't get to number 2. The Saints can't get to number 2, let's just say, right, with this package. The good news is they may, if you want a quarterback, you don't have to get to number 2. So maybe they, I saw rap sheet saying that maybe they're moving up to get a quarterback. But it'd be pretty bold considering this quarterback class and the way it's viewed now. But if they love a guy, they love a guy.
And right? They don't have their coach who's a star offensive coordinator.
Well, that's my take on this from the Eagles standpoint, from Roseman's standpoint, was Howie Roseman's, like you said, it's an easy trade to say yes to. But it looks probably, the odds that this trade looks even better in 2023, I think are pretty good. He's just betting against Jameis Winston and Dennis Allen or whoever the Saints quarterback is. If they were to draft a rookie, that's even worse. The 2023 first round pick that the Eagles are getting from the Saints, the 2023 first, is that pick more likely to be higher or lower than number 18? I think it's more likely to be lower, as in, or higher, whichever, 1 through, it's more likely to be 1 through 17 than 19 through 32.
Well, if I said, Guy, you had to put $1,000 right now, is that pick more likely to be 25 or 10? Where would you put your money?
10.
Exactly. So, and I would say that I just can't fathom, and this is where the Eagles now, back-to-back years of just having assets, and this would be Howie's thing, having assets gives you flexibility. Because most people wouldn't have had the ability to, because you don't have multiple picks, right? And obviously the Giants, their picks are too high to even sniff doing a deal like this. But look at the Giants are a good example last year when, to me, anytime you trade in a situation with a new coach or a coach on the hot seat, you feel pretty good. Remember last year the Giants went from 11 to 20 for the Justin Fields trade? Look what that did for them this year. It gives them 2 picks in the top 10 because they sucked, and then they also got the Bears pick. This, I wouldn't say the Saints. Well, are the Saints more likely to go 11-6 or 6-11?
6-11
for sure.
6-11. Eric says, I heard based on the trade value chart, they could trade 16 and 19, the Giants for 5, and leapfrog the Panthers for a quarterback. So 16 and 19, I have the updated. Belichick has said, and NFL, I mean, I'm not breaking any news here, that the Jimmy Johnson draft value chart is not the draft value chart that people should use if they're even going to play this game. So let's play this game with the updated one, which I have here. New Orleans, 19 is 278 and 16 is 305. What's that? 278.
That's
plus
570, 581.
83.
583.
583. And yeah, the value of number 4 is 491. So,
but you also like a little like real estate in a hot market. If you want to get up really high, you actually pay a premium, right?
That's what I'm saying. The Niners went a shorter distance last year and paid more.
Yeah. And that's also assuming, like, do the Giants then want 3 picks? Because they already have another one. So would they want 3 picks in this draft? They might not.
Well, you can't give them next year's one because you just traded that to the Eagles.
Jeffrey Lurie gave a press conference like last week. And obviously, Howie got an extension within the last couple weeks. And he was kind of drilled on a lot of that stuff. And he's like, you guys, meaning the media and the outside, make such a big deal on like a missed pick. Like, one individual pick is just a talking point for like 3 years, right? In his example, he didn't use this name, but he's talking about JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Like there's a name, just like, and every fan base has this. Sometimes you get a couple, but there's usually one guy that gets picked on. Like, how'd you take Arcega-Whiteside over A.J. Brown? It carries on you as long as that guy's on the team. That's why Belichick, the moment he misses, that guy's on the team like 2 years and he trades him. So like you can't have that conversation. Most GMs keep that guy for the length of his contract. And he's like, I don't like if you look around, we can play that game with every general manager, right? I have to factor in other things like how's the salary cap? Can he build around it? Can he work with coaches? Can he make deals? Can he work with free agency? Like it's more than just the one pick in the second round 2 years ago, which if you just turn on the local radio or podcast, like we just, because people get fired up over it. But I was like, yeah, it's a good point. He's like, I feel very comfortable, all this other stuff. And it's stuff like this, like that is an elite. If I'm an owner, I'm like, it's my fucking guy right there, right? Fuck yeah. So we go back-to-back years with multiple first-round picks. Like that's big. And it's like, oh, you're like a 3-win team? No, we made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And we still have 2 first-round picks this year, and we had a third? Like you said, that third is not nothing. You could argue that, did they need to throw in the second in 24? Wouldn't that third be enough?
It's hard to even talk about this trade without looking at it. Yeah, I mean, because they got, it's 2 ones for 2 ones, right? Basically. But one of the ones is now and one is in the future, so you pay a little more for the one now, like you said. But to pay a little more for the one now, is the third enough to pay a little more for the one now? That's a good question.
Like, would Howie have still? I guess my question is, does Howie say no to this deal if we erase the 2024 second rounder? I still think he might say yes. Don't you?
Well, because who else is all? It's not like this. He's shopping that deal to somebody else.
No. Who wants picks 16 and 19 for pick 8? Like, it's a unique deal, right? They really only match. Because Howie doesn't want to get rid of all of his picks. And he's not probably trying to move up or move down, I don't know, April 4th. Like, what? He's not moving and shaking on the draft. But this is one of those where someone knocks on your door, you have no desire to move out of your house, and they throw out a number. You're like, honey, we'll find another place, right?
Well, just ask for a second while they're out front.
Yeah, we'll take your offer, and we'll also take your car. I'm like, yep, deal.
Okay, Tark.
I think the fuck. I think the Eagles would have no problem operating like the Rams if they had their quarterback. But I think without your quarterback, you do have to be a little more prudent. Like this, to me, the Eagles are always thinking value. The Niners do the same thing. The difference is the Niners, in theory, should have their quarterback on their roster. The Eagles are just kind of playing the long game. To me, if they would, like,
also won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they're obsessed with being back in the playoffs. Like if Deshaun's a bad example because they didn't want him because they weren't comfortable with it. But like if like Justin Herbert was available, Howie would give like 4 1s and 2 2s to get, it's not like they're afraid to do some crazy move. It doesn't really present itself yet. And Jalen is good enough that he can just keep you afloat, right? They don't have really any other options. But you're not in a terrible spot, so it's just you just kind of play the long game while you can compete. Because I bet he'll go, well, we'll get 2 starters in the first round, right, at 15 and 18. Like, what if they end up with Drake London and some pass rusher?
I think Drake London's going to be good.
Problem for them, why I don't think they would take Drake London is because, now he's a much better player than JJ, but similar, like, play speed, a little questionable.
See,
he's
I don't
much
think
better.
They're similar.
What?
I don't think they're similar players.
Yeah, JJ sucked, but didn't.
But I mean,
suck.
JJ was not even like Drake is a dominant receiver, and I think in the age of not the age of, this has always been the case, but getting open is so much more important than being fast, right?
Wayne, you could say, don't you think Drake London and Devontae Smith would be a good 1-2 combo?
Yeah. I mean, JJ's thing was catches jump balls, not gets open.
Only in the red zone.
Balls. Red zone jump balls. Drake London gets open. He separates.
Yeah.
You and I guessed last week. What were our numbers? Do you remember the numbers? I think, did I say 18 or 19? And you said 20 because it felt round to you?
Yeah, I think you were high teens. Maybe I was 20 and a half or something.
Bobby Wagner contracts his rep sheet. Functionally, I love how we got to really read here to get the numbers.
But I thought wasn't it 5 year $50 million?
5 year 50. Functionally, it's 2 years 17 and a half base with a chance to be 23.5. He gets 6.5 in year 1, but 10 million fully guaranteed. So 10 million fully guaranteed total, or 10 million fully guaranteed in year 1, working with the Rams while they work on Aaron Donald.
So he's like a team player, even though he's not even on the team yet.
Is it 1 year, 10 million? Is that basically what his contract is? Or is it 2 years, 17 and a half? Maybe the dead money's big enough in year 2 that he wouldn't go anywhere in year 2.
We'll see when Spot Track plugs that bad boy in. We'll get a good feel for how long they're tied to him. Because if it's got 0 dead cap by year 2, like it's a 1 year deal.
Yeah, I like my contracts, no words and just numbers. And then let me decide what the numbers say, Yeah.
Well, you've been on to that thing how these guys have been tweeting. Rap Sheet, Schefter, basketball guys do it too. They really, to me, the contract stuff, like, guys, you can't tweet like they gave a firm, they showed the player that they're all in. And it's like a 5 year deal, and then it's essentially a 1 year deal. It's like, no, you can't lie to us on Twitter anymore. But they really do. And listen, Adam's getting paid $10 million, so I understand why he does it. They feel like you give me these stories that the masses will really eat up my tweet. It's like, no, I mean, people are smart enough now to like just look at the real numbers. I mean, hell, me and you, now granted we kind of do this for a living, had a pretty good idea what the number was going to come in at, right? It's not like we were 15 million off. We were right there in the ballpark. And honestly, it was lower.
And I remember, if I remember, you said 20, but you said I just went up a little higher, so it would be a round number.
Yeah.
Which means you were really thinking 19.
But it also shows you, like, was his best other offer probably $15 million? Basically like a 2 year deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't even know if the 17 and a half. When was that? I got to go back and find that.
Do you think he's on the Rams
for 2 years?
It feels like if he doesn't get injured, he's at minimum, he's just on the team for 2 years. But the thing in football, sometimes at 31, 32 years old, by his second year, what if he stinks?
Yeah.
Now, in fairness to Bobby, right, he gets to keep every penny of that. He doesn't pay any agent fees.
Oh, that's true. Does his own work. Rap Sheet said he gets a player option after 1 if he hits his incentives.
You ever cut that agent
baseball
check and
contract?
You ever cut that agent check and got, what are they really doing for me? Why am I paying this?
So you remember.
That happened to me, and I said, never again.
You remember. I did not hear
some money at the time, too, if I remember correctly.
It was. But not a lot of work done for it either.
No. Didn't quite add up.
No, it didn't.
That's why,
as John likes to say, bye-bye.
That's why you got to be very, very careful about the deals that you get involved in that feel cool. Like, don't do things because, like, this feels like what I should be. It feels cool. It feels right.
Yeah, sometimes you got to learn lessons the hard way. Yeah. Those are the lessons that stick.
That was an expensive lesson.
How about DK Metcalf? This was just listen real quick. Haven't heard anything per DKM14, which is his own Twitter account, according to rumors calling Seattle about trading for DK per rap sheet. Haven't heard anything, said DK.
Did you see the video that went viral? The interview he did with Kevin Garnett and his diet.
I saw the caption of his diet. I didn't watch the video.
I watched it. He gets up, he works out, then he works out again, which is believable. So he does like.
So what does he do between workouts?
That's a good question. Maybe plays video games or something.
Okay.
Maybe
so he doesn't finish the workout and then start a new workout. He finishes the workout and then takes a break.
I think essentially what he means is like I get up, I go lift, and then I do football stuff. So maybe like he gets up, he goes to the weight room for an hour, then they go out to the field and do a football, like run routes or whatever. That's the way that I would assume what he means. Then at lunch, I just have a cup of coffee. So he's worked out twice. He just goes cup of coffee. So he like fasts, but he's already worked out twice. Then by the afternoon, and he says, I order. So clearly he DoorDashes from like Target or CVS or wherever, the local grocery store, 3 bags of candy. So all he's had by like the afternoon is a cup of coffee and 3 bags of candy. Starburst, Sour Patch Kids, like he eats those type, gummies, that type stuff every day. And then he says he eats 1 meal a day and it's like 8 o'clock at night. I don't know how he's not starving.
I do the opposite. I eat 2 meals.
Even Garnett thought he was nuts.
It's insane.
But he's telling I 100% believe him.
Yeah, first of all, it makes no sense to order 3 bags a day. Like candy's not going bad. You can just order 100 bags. Why do you have to order 3 bags a day? DoorDash fees, man. If I were the Seahawks, I'd be just concerned about his decision making. Like don't tell me you're committed to. But I get it. He looks like
I think you would underrate the average 24-year-old pro athlete's diet's probably terrible.
But that's on another level of terrible.
Yeah,
at least eat some McDonald's.
I think a lot of guys. To me, it's more like you just need to eat more real food. But I think you would underestimate how often like the guys in their early 20s, the shit food they constantly.
No, I don't. I've seen it. I'm just saying that is on another level from Anthony Edwards eats McDonald's every day.
Yeah, but I don't think if you're Anthony Edwards, McDonald's, it's just
totally.
He would.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely nothing would change if he just had grilled chicken.
I get McDonald's. I understand it. That one I understand. The 3 bags of candy. First of all, Starburst, a lot of work. You got to unwrap each one individually.
Well, I think there are 2 type candy people. I'm more of a chocolate guy, and then there are the people that love that type candy. I don't like that type candy.
I love Sour Patch Kids.
I don't mind them, but I couldn't do them every day.
I had a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup the other day, and I think society has pushed Reese's Peanut Butter Cup minis upon us. Like every Halloween, it's minis in all the bags. You ever get a bag with candy, it's minis. The Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, full size, the mini can't compete because the mini is all edges. The Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is mostly middle. And it's so much better.
I actually am a believer that the chocolate for a lot of like the Snickers, the Reese's, is not as good as it used to be. It just doesn't taste quite as good.
What do you mean?
I just think I don't know if they've changed the ingredients. It just feels cheaper. Something about it. I noticed it around Halloween because clearly they just. I mean,
you don't think it's an issue with minis? I think if you eat minis are just everything's going to be worse than the real bar.
Yeah, maybe it's it's something that strikes me a lot around Halloween. The minis are really shitty.
Yeah. I think minis are weak. Minis are weak. What's the other thing I had here? Muted Bobby, DK, National Championship game. Oh, Papa reaction. If you haven't watched the Greg Papa interview, it's very good, if I may say so myself. I would say it's fantastic.
Go do it.
We've gotten a lot of some people reacting to it.
I think a lot of people realized how big of a Jimmy Garoppolo fan he was.
Yeah, I enjoyed that conversation because he had a take. We had different takes. We went back and forth with it. Wasn't that difficult? My favorite part of the interview might have been when Greg gives a take and you start laughing, and Greg goes, "Look, he's laughing." What was that one about? Maybe like he'd won Jimmy. I don't remember what it was, but I don't know. It was just fun.
You also got to, you're just a product of your own experiences. And, he had 20 years of seeing the worst football team in the history of the league. 20 years of Raiders, of just being the laughing stock, the butt of every joke. But the reason, when you're that bad, what does that usually mean? Your quarterback play is atrocious, right? Because if you just have a credible quarterback, you're going to luck into a couple like 7 and 9 seasons. Guy, they were drafting in the top 5 every single season. It was one shitty quarterback after another. He was just, by the end, when I first met the guy, it was like, Christian Ponder, look at those feet. Like, it was just like, Greg, you need to just get out of here. And since he has. But I think Jimmy Garoppolo would have been the best Raider quarterback for like decades. But it's like, he's not that good, And he costs a lot.
And he gets hurt.
A lot.
Might as well sign him up for a lifetime contract. You guys just wait and see. I guess this is kind of weird. Why were there 2 trades today? What happened?
Who else got traded?
Well, the Devontae Parker. Was that today?
He got traded like Sunday, Friday or Monday or Saturday.
Did
he?
Got
traded a couple days ago. Yeah.
Oh. Well, why were there 2 trades this weekend? Transfer portal.
Bill just needed a wide receiver. I don't know why the Saints one. It makes no like why today. I don't. What was the rush? I don't. Howie's like, wait, are you serious? Yeah, put it in. Send it in. Send it in. Send it in. I'll tell you why the Eagles trade got official. They're like, we can just wait till the draft. Howie's like, no, do it now.
Get into the office. Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker's been around. 3 touchdowns, 4, 1, 1, 9, 4, 2.
It's weird. I think he's a former first-round pick, kind of underachieved, but then kind of turned his career around where he was just solid. Bill gave a 3rd-round pick for him, right? Wasn't it a 3rd for Devontae, and they gave back a 6th or something?
Yeah. To me, I'm just looking at Devontae's numbers, John. His catch percentages are something to behold. This kind of number, it's not like I don't know everybody's catch percentage off the top of my head, but I think these numbers are pretty low. Last year, he caught 55% of the balls thrown his way.
Was playing with Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, Tagovailoa. 61% the year before, 56% the year before that. The year before that, 51% of his. And again, quarterback play is a factor. I'm not saying he stinks because of this number. I'm just saying this is the situation. 51% in 18. 55. They threw him 73 balls to result in 40 catches.
Now, this guy struggles with evaluating wide receivers. I would not love doing a deal with Bill Belichick if I was Mike McDaniel. Would you? I know the GM is facilitating it, but I'd be like, are we sure? Like, would you take a round less of a pick to just trade him to a different division?
Not a round. I don't. Specifically, this player who has just not been productive. He's 29 years old.
Well, their
quarterback is Mac Jones. So there's a ceiling on what they can be offensively.
Just that guy trade him to
Bill. I know. But like, you'd rather take a 4th-round pick to send him to the
Seattle
Browns or the Cowboys than a 3rd? You get a 3rd.
Yeah, it's a good 3rd.
I think I'd take.
I'm just saying we're just having a meeting to just discuss. Like, guys, are we sure? We sure.
All right. Good stream today. We'll have to talk about, some are suggesting, as we've talked about before. I think you and I talked a long time. Maybe it was last year we talked about, could N'Keal Harry be a Niner? Remember when N'Keal demanded a trade?
Oh, remember that? He demanded a trade, but what happened? Didn't he play the whole season for the Patriots?
I guess the word demand has a flexible meaning, but
Do you think he walked by Bill a couple times like, man, I was just kidding, bro. My fingers, it's hurt. My former coach said, don't press send. I press send. My bad. Or do you think they don't even discuss it?
you think Bill pretends like he never even got the demand? And then so Nikhil's got to sit around like, did he see the demand and he's pretending like he didn't know, or did he just not see it and I'm cool? Like when you send a text message that you hope the person didn't see?
There can't be many industries where you demand a trade, be like demanding, like, I want to work for somewhere else. Every single person in your office knows that you did it, yet you just come to work and try to like fit in every day.
It wasn't because of you guys, though.
Yeah.
I love my teammates.
Nikhil Harry, a California guy? Do you know? Because Ayuk's a Sacramento kid, right?
I don't think he is.
Maybe he's from Arizona. Isn't Brandon Ayuk from Sacramento?
No, yeah, Harry is from Toronto. From Toronto, born in Toronto, but went
Arizona.
Moved as a baby to
Gilbert.
Oh, that's right. He came with his mom to his grandma to the Phoenix area. From I'd forgotten about that story.
See, it's weird. Ayuk was born in Rockland, Sac guy, but then he went to high school. Maybe they just moved for tax purposes. I'm pretty sure Fresno, when I was at Fresno State, did Clint Stitzer go to Robert McQueen? It's in Reno. You ever heard of Robert McQueen? Does that sound familiar to you?
Vaguely.
Because he went to Ayuk went to high school in Reno, but then he went to
junior
City,
college,
and then he went to Arizona State. I feel like Stitzer went to McQueen, but could be wrong.
He definitely feels like a Reno guy. I think you might be right about that.
Because Brandon Ayuk does not feel like he went to high school in Reno, does he?
What, you think he's too good of a football player?
Yeah, I just don't feel like many good football players go to high school in Reno.
It's true.
Vegas or Sac, but Reno's... I didn't even feel like this school... Like, Nevada has a lot of guys from Reno, right?
No.
It feels like most of their guys are from the Valley or Sac.
Wonder if Ayuk's tape is dominant.
I would imagine he's pretty fast. I mean, not many people catching him. He was first team all Northern Nevada. I guess they probably split it, huh?
Who else was on that squad? A lot of D1 guys.
He was all state as a senior. He must have had bad grades, because I would imagine he was a Division I guy coming out of high school, right?
You would think.
Well, that's Pat Hill doesn't exist anymore. They would have been all over that guy, got him into school, right? The Devontae and Ryan Matthews. That's the two most talented players of the last 15 years, Fresno State guys. 0.0s. Because I heard Devontae, Dub sent me this thing. Like, Devontae was, when he was at his press conference, he said, Fresno State came in, helped me academically, kind of played it up like it wasn't that bad. Dub's like, it was way worse than he's making it out to be. But he's so well-spoken that you're like, this guy's smart. I think his grades.
Very high-level guy. Yeah.
Ryan was legitimate all Fs at Bakersfield. I think Devontae was like a 1-2. He just wasn't trying in school. And they flipped it around. He had to take like 17 classes his last 2 semesters. I don't even know how it's humanly possible, but he somehow did it, and then he gets in Fresno State, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Huh. I mean, you're not exactly. Yeah.
When you say the two most talented players of the last decade and a half of Fresno State, non-Derek, would be Ryan and Devontae.
Two most talented players?
Yeah. At the school, and then once they left,
Ryan was a top 15 pick as a running back.
Yeah. And Devontae clearly should have gone higher than he did.
High second round. But even high second round is pretty. I mean, that's where really good receivers get drafted, right?
And if both of them just had 3.0s, they're both at USC and like Washington, or who knows, right? I mean, they're just because the other coaches, once you see the transcript, you're like, we don't even waste our time. That's when Pat was like, this is our guy.
He was right.
Maybe Tedford will do that.
Hell yeah, they play SC, I think, week 2.
I saw some. They must be practicing spring ball, because I've seen some highlights on my feed
of who?
Hainer.
Of Hainer,
just on at Bulldog Stadium, like running some practice.
Did you see what Lincoln Riley did the other day? The bet he made with the kickers.
Is that why he was doing up downs?
Yeah, the bet was if the kickers get 2 kicks, if they miss the first one, the defense does up downs. If they miss the second one, the offense does up downs. If they make them both, the coaches do up downs.
My problem is, and it kind of gets convoluted between the two schools, is because of Drew Hill, I have followed probably like 6 or 7 of the main Oklahoma stuff. So I get a lot of Lincoln Riley content, but it's negative. Like, what's this clown doing? And it's them doing up downs. But I can, but then I also get positive from like USC Insider of like
Ryan Abraham,
sweet guys. But it's all together and kind of interwoven that it's hard to follow good and bad what's really going on. Because Oklahoma, I would say, is the one program beside like Fresno State that I'm pretty deep into the weeds with following some of like whatever their like bark boards are. They are not happy with Lincoln Riley, I'll tell you that much. And there's a lot of push. One takeaway I'd have, and I get it where they're coming from, their new coach feels a little cheesy, very collegiate, but like Kirby Smart feels collegiate, but their guy feels a little, I don't know, man. Their team's going to be so talented these first couple, they'll probably be okay. I would say that they're probably not going to keep the Bob Stoops, Lincoln Riley, Brett Venables. The smooth transition will just keep on going of double-digit wins. I could see them having a. Damn, did you see Oklahoma went 7-5 in 2024?
Just the Niners travel directors of the year, John. They just announced that. On the far right is our guy Michael Slapp, UC Davis. So, shout out to the squad. Travel directors of the year.
Whoever did the beatbox one night, probably like a week ago, had an edible
boombox.
And just went down the boombox. Went down a rabbit hole. Somehow started watching Super Gremlin, Kodak Black videos, which leads you to Debo and the walkout, which leads me to really dissecting the walkout. And I don't think the guy got enough credit for how into it he was. And there's one video, I think it was the Bengal game, and they're clearly waiting to come out as a squad, and it's blaring. I mean, they're stopped. They're at like where the intersection of where the locker or where the entrance hits the field, when always that kind of opening spot at a stadium, but they're stopped, and the grass starts, and there's a guy kind of holding them back. And Trent and Debo are going nuts. He's going nuts. I'm like, this guy's energy level for doing this job, you could tell he really got into it. And I tweeted, like, this was probably a couple weeks ago. I wake up in the morning and the dude's like, thanks for the love. And it's him. And he's on Twitter. And he's just the boombox guy who clearly has I don't know what his job is at the staff other than that, but his energy level was pretty high as the season went on. I think he knew, like, I'm playing a role here.
We got to find that guy, John.
We do. I wonder if Kyle would let him come on.
Is he subject to the rules and regulations of Kyle Shanahan's media operation?
I would imagine they.
You can't walk into the office and they find out you did an interview.
He might not be if he is not. Is he a lock to be a coach on the staff? He might just be, like. Actually, I got no clue what his role would be.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be one of the travel directors. I don't know. DJ?
Yeah, if you told me he was the quality control guy this year, I don't know where it was.
We'll track that down.
Here it is. I found it. His name is the one quote. Nick Cray, chief of staff. So he's Kyle's chief of staff. So I would say no. Hashtag ops life.
Nick. Yale, John. Football ops at Yale. Offensive special teams assistant at Villanova. And defensive end quality control at Eastern Illinois.
Is there a chance
for
this
that
guy's
NC State and Ball State? He's put in. I mean, he has traveled to get to this position.
Is it out of the realm of possibility this guy's a head coach in the NFL in 5 years?
No,
I'm being dead serious.
I know you are.
You say he's a Yale grad?
No. Well, that I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get more bio here.
Show more. They always put the college down below.
Played as a D lineman at Eastern Illinois, where he was a member of the Ohio Valley Conference championship squads and 3 FCS playoff teams. Was a team captain in 06-07. He's also spent time so he went Eastern Illinois quality control to Villanova special teams assistant, offensive assistant, to Yale football ops, to Ball State football ops and player development, to NC State director of football ops, to 49ers chief of staff. Did he play with Garoppolo?
No, because wouldn't you say he's closer to our age?
He's older. Yeah, he's older than Jimmy, right?
What year did he play there?
But only, I mean, he was he would have, he was quality control Jimmy.
Who are famous Eastern Illinois grads? Garoppolo, Sean Payton, the dude that has the Kodak Black beatbox. I mean,
so he just missed. Jimmy didn't redshirt at Eastern Illinois, right? He would have just missed him. Jimmy's freshman year was 10. This guy got there, and this guy left there in 09.
Yeah, we see if he'll come on. Got a lot of mutual friends. Beckler, Mayoko, Bob Lang, D'Amico, McGlinchey. He's stand next to Kyle. No, it's not Kyle. This guy, what a unique job. Sting football, you just always got to be ready. Like, if you told me he's a huge part of the run game design this year, you just never know.
It's a great. You are not wrong. Now, I mean, he could be D'Amico's. He could take over for D'Amico in 2 years. Defensive line.
Oh, he's a defensive guy. Yeah, I mean.
Well, but I mean, you can change with Kyle.
What's his name?
Changed before.
The dude that you told me has the podcast now went from cutting the grass to being an NFL GM.
Thomas Dimitroff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Greg Pop interview was actually good. Yeah. What?
Was actually pretty good. You think it was going to suck?
It was really good. All right. Anything else to add today to our 30-minute or 57-minute stream?
No.
That's the way it goes. Thanks for hanging, everybody. This was YouTube only. This is not a podcast. So, podcast, we'll be back live on Tuesday. Enjoy the national championship game if you're watching.